Well, hey guys, I thought I'd do something a little bit different this time and not do a regular RavensFilm update, but kind of delve into something a little bit different here. Kind of give you some updates on Blu-ray news that I've heard recently, stuff that's coming out on home video, some big, notable type of stuff that I think a lot of you guys might be interested in, and especially like it as we go along here. To kind of post your comments below, see how much you kind of enjoy me giving a little bit of this, kind of collecting a couple of news tidbits from different places to kind of get an idea if this is something that might be appealing to you guys on a regular basis. But like you'll notice over my shoulder here and all this type of stuff, there's a lot of Star Trek that I'm very much interested in. Been a Star Trek fan for over 20 years now, and this is the 50th anniversary of the Star Trek franchise, and Paramount Pictures apparently has a few things to kind of plan out here with the celebrate the anniversary and everything. Obviously, we have the Star Trek Beyond new film coming out this summer, but the home video market is going to see a few interesting releases, and apparently got all this stuff from thedigitalbits.com, so I'm going to have a link below in the description for you guys to check out. A very informative article from the site there, and apparently they were kind of invited over to Paramount a couple years ago to kind of shake things loose a little bit after the apparent couple issues there were with the sort of retailer exclusive releases for Star Trek Into Darkness, and they pitched a couple ideas out to them, and a couple of them are actually happening here. With a probably the biggest one overall is that Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is getting a full 4K remastered release on Blu-ray and a possible 4K Ultra HD release as well. But the fact of the matter is, this release will include both the theatrical version and Nicholas Meyer's Director's Cut Edition that has previously only been available on DVD before this, and Nick Meyer is also involved with the release, so hopefully they'll put together a couple new extras or something like that, or at least cull all the extras from the previous DVD releases into one set so you can have a very definitive edition of the film. And obviously it is one of the best Star Trek films ever made. I think it's one of the best science fiction films ever made. Absolutely fantastic film that I haven't upgraded to Blu-ray because I do kind of favor the Director's Cut Edition. Not that all the stuff that they add is really all that much of a meaty addition to it, but it's like a few little bits and pieces they added back in the film does add a little bit more of a richer context and texture of the film that I very much enjoy, and I'll be very pleased. I'll be very much looking forward to getting this release when they hit up sometime later this year. And they're also going to be releasing Star Trek the Animated Series on Blu-ray because they already had scanned in. They don't have to do really any kind of work to get it prepped for the whole format and everything, so that's also going to be coming. But there's not going to be any other remasters on the books for the time being, aside from getting 4K Ultra HD releases of the two J.J. Abrams Star Trek films when you get up to the release of Beyond later this year. But there's no plans to remaster any of the other television series because mainly, I guess, the remastered Blu-rays or whatnot for Next Generation really just didn't generate enough sales to spend the millions of dollars they would require to go through the entire process that they did on Next Gen to pull all the film negatives, re-edit everything, recomposite all the effects for another 7 seasons for both DS9 and Voyager. And so it just hasn't been a viable thing because obviously Next Gen is the far more mainstream series than two other ones that, especially DS9, is a little bit more niche in a certain way. It kind of has that kind of dividing line between classic Trek fans of whether they like it, whether they don't. And it's a little bit sort of the thing that just didn't quite hit the cultural zeitgeist to really kind of be that much of a mainstream hit. So it's like if they didn't have the overabundance of sales for Next Gen, they obviously don't view that DS9 has that kind of pull towards the market to really kind of do all that type of work to have it pay off financially in the long run. But there's going to be a couple of things that I'd really hope they would do, because apparently Digital Bits did pitch them that after they had done the Next Gen remasters to kind of keep their digital effects department busy with maybe doing a full remaster on the Star Trek the Motion Picture Director's Edition, because they rendered all those effects for that new edition only in standard definition. So they pitched that, but it doesn't seem like it's happening. But I think, like, as they think in that article too, that if the one for Wrath of Khan is as popular, is as big of a seller as it is, it might spark off an idea for them to kind of go off and find it financially viable for them to go ahead and possibly remaster that edition of it, because none of the other films have been remastered for the Blu-ray format. They have been released, but they haven't gone through and done extensive work to really kind of spruce them up, make them look the utmost quality they possibly could be. So you can watch, there's been some of them on streaming services such as Netflix and Hulu or whatnot, where you can watch them on there, and they look pretty good, but obviously, I imagine they can probably look a lot better, especially with the whole 4K Ultra HD format coming out. Star Trek is one of Paramount's largest franchises, so they would probably eventually want to get those prepped for that type of release, to go in there, get 4K scans, clean them up as best possible, make them look the best they can. So it might be possible that they have a reissue somewhere down the line if all things line up. But they did sort of a repackaging of all the films and whatnot. There was an original series and a next gen series set for each of the films that has been put in a very compact set that you can find pretty much at Best Buy, Target, wherever you want to, Amazon as well. That I was like, let's kind of think about picking up, but right now, like I said, I got Netflix for a little while longer. Probably gonna be cutting it off for a little while until like the next Marvel series or whatnot premieres, because I don't watch too much on Netflix. But it's like, as long as I got it somewhere on a streaming service I'm already paying for, there's no real reason for me to go ahead and buy an HD Blu-ray version of it, especially with this announcement of Wrath of Khan coming out in this wholly restored edition with both cuts of the film. Definitely going to be getting that. So be interesting how much they really put into all this 50th anniversary stuff, because like they always kind of want to do that, especially when you had like the 25th anniversary with Star Trek 6. They really wanted to push forth and get a film out by the end of that year. So they're always very keen to celebrate these milestones for the franchise. So hopefully they'll put together as much as they can in the best quality possible. But shifting gears over to the Star Wars type of stuff, obviously we got Force Awakens coming up on home video formats very shortly at the beginning of April. April 1st you'll get your digital HD release, and then the following Tuesday you'll get your physical format releases on Blu-ray and DVD. The 3D Blu-ray will not be coming out until sometime later this year, and again, no 4K Ultra HD release has been announced yet, but I'm sure eventually Disney and Lucasfilm will put the effort into making sure they can get those releases out to you guys and make them very prominent tentpole releases on the format. But there's a couple of retailer exclusives that are coming out that you guys, if you guys weren't aware of them, that apparently Best Buy is going to have a nice Steelbook edition that's going to be very closely designed to be in line with the Steelbooks that they released for the rest of the saga late last year. So it's like, that's kind of a nice thing that they kind of had that forward-thinking thing to make sure that they could have everything, all these Steelbooks look very much the same and have a nice package and everything. And from the images released from Best Buy and whatnot, it seems confirmed that it will be a 3-disc edition with a combo pack, probably 2 Blu-rays and 1 DVD in the set, and probably a digital download code. There's digital HD as well, so definitely that might be the one I'm going for. It doesn't have any extra content from what I'm aware of, but I just, going for all of them, I think I'm going to like that one the best, because there's one from Target that's going to have extra 20 minutes of bonus content, but it's not going to be actually on the discs themselves. There's going to be a sort of code and a link, whatnot, inside of a slip that you're going to be able to go online and access this stuff through a code-based system. So it's all digital download type of extras. It's not actually on the disc itself. But they do have some special packaging to go along with that might be your taste, might not be. I didn't find it as appealing as some of the other stuff going on, but there's also one coming out for Walmart that has a special BB-8 packaging, and something called a Galactic Connections trading disc. I'm not really have any clue what that really is, but if you do know, good for you guys. But there's also one from the Disney store itself, which will be offering a special lithograph that I don't know what it looks like at this time, but apparently they'll be offering a special lithograph with the release of the thing. So with all these things in mind, yeah, the Target one does offer something more in terms of content, but it's like, if I can just only just watch it on my computer, it's not as interesting to me. And it's like, I kind of like a Steelbook. A Steelbook is nice, slim, cool type of thing. might go for it. I'm probably just going to wait until the actual day when everything's released and go in the store and take a look at everything and just make a decision there. But basically, all the other releases are going to have the exact same bonus features with all the featurettes they have and deleted scenes and stuff like that. I don't think a commentary track has been announced at all, but there's plenty of featurettes about the making of the film and all this different stuff. So you can definitely check that out and see which one really kind of hits it for you, or you just go for the standard release at any regular retailer or whatnot. But definitely people are very interested in The Force Awakens hitting home video formats, and that's what you got going on here and everything. And another thing that's coming up, another science fiction film, not really intended to be that, but seems to be the theme here, that 20th anniversary of Independence Day is here, whatnot, and obviously they have the sequel coming up, and they decided that they're going to do a fully restored Blu-ray release with apparently the theatrical cut and the extended edition of the film as well. And it's like one of those films I saw in the theater back in the day and really haven't had much of a pull towards revisiting it. Well, maybe I'll give it another shot when they get closer to the release of the sequel, which I'm very intrigued by the trailers. Pretty much like the atmosphere and mood that they're kind of going for there. Kind of a little bit darker, whatnot. So it's like, it might intrigue me to go back and watch the original and just get everything fresh in my mind before I go see the sequel. But apparently they're going to be doing like a standard release. There's going to be a gift set release with a lot or other extras involved with the thing. And definitely going to have there's a 30-minute documentary that they're including on the thing. And there's probably also maybe going to be, again, 4K Ultra HD release of that as well. And that's basically all there is for the main Blu-ray type of stuff. But there's a couple of TV series, classic ones, that might be getting an HD treatment release soon, because Mill Creek Entertainment is a nice little company that does a lot of good licensed releases and everything, kind of a little bit more on the cheap type of stuff. And they require a number of licenses for Universal television series, including Knight Rider, Quantum Leap, and Miami Vice, among a couple others, that right now I think they're only planning on DVD releases, but I know for certain that Miami Vice and Quantum Leap are already set with HD scans and everything. A lot of them you can find on some streaming services, and they look very, very good. And they might eventually do a Blu-ray release of these things and everything. I believe Miami Vice has been remastered for the Blu-ray format. So hopefully eventually they'll be able to do that as well. And apparently Airwolf, the complete series, is getting a Blu-ray release as well. And TV shows on DVD.com has definitely dug into a lot of the details on that. So you can definitely check the links below to get some little more information on each one of the releases. But like I said, Mill Creek usually deals in very low-cost sets. They can deliver to you very easily. Like the Miami Vice sets, they were very high priced when they came out because they had to pay off recoup the costs from all the music licenses. But ever since then, they've well recouped their money from it. And up until the discs apparently went out of print, they're fairly cheap to buy. You could usually buy them for $10. And I don't think the Mill Creek sets are going to be priced very much higher than that. So you can definitely check that type of stuff out, and I think that's going to be really exciting because obviously Miami Vice is just one of those series that it just continues to be one of the best series out there for that type of genre. I absolutely love it. I've had the DVDs for years and years, and you could maybe tempt me to upgrade to Blu-ray depending on this, that, and the other thing. But I've definitely watched plenty of Quantum Leap on Netflix, which has the HD versions. Doesn't have all the episodes because I think there's a number of licensing issues with some of the episodes, especially with all the there was a lot of issues with the music licenses of Quantum Leap on DVD, where some of the music did get replaced at certain places, and it really kind of irked me at the time because it was a number of very key episodes that just like really rubbed me the wrong way when they did not have these very particular memorable songs in these excellent episodes. So definitely the ones on Netflix and whatnot do have those songs in there at this point in time. So for a reason, they probably struck new licensing deals for distribution on those types of formats or whatnot. So whatever the case, these series are probably going to be coming to Blu-ray eventually, as long as the demand is there and they already have HD scans of them. I think it's nearly inevitable that they'll happen. But that's basically all I have in terms of the news here, but there's one little extra thing to add into it that I've obtained recently. Because on the update where I talked about a lot of the VHS releases I still have, I talked about Albert Pyun's Mean Guns and that it had never gotten anything but a pan and scan release here in the States on both VHS and DVD and probably Laserdisc as well. And you can only find like widescreen versions of the film on like a Japanese Laserdisc, or there's especially a French language DVD out there from Europe or whatnot you could get, but obviously no English language track there. So it's been a bit of a thing trying to find a good way to get a widescreen version that has the original CinemaScope widescreen aspect ratio available to it. And lo and behold, I discovered Platinum Cult Edition released a remastered HD uncut version of Mean Guns in its original 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio on DVD and Blu-ray here. And they're a bit of a, not the highest quality company out there, not the most reputable type of people, but you can kind of, if this is the only option that you have, go for it, because it's a little bit of a thing that obviously they're from Germany. That's the main thing. You have to order this from overseas. If you're not in Europe, you're going to have to order this from Germany. And I got it off of Amazon Marketplace despite being able to purchase it directly from Platinum Cult Edition, because you just feel a little bit more of a reassurance if you're buying it off of Amazon, even if it is Marketplace, not directly from them. But it's just a safer platform. You know that if you have any issues going ahead, when you buy something off there, you at least have Amazon there as a middleman, a middle person to kind of deal and have and process things. If you have any problems, you can contact and use it and whatnot and make sure it goes ahead and smooth thing. And this arrived from Germany in a week and a half. That's a rapid fire type of shipping right there. And apparently they send it priority mail, because I've sent things from here, Midwest of United States, here in Chicago, all the way out to Europe. It's taken me like a month before. When I was trying to get a website to review my film Dead of Night many years ago, it took like a month for the thing to show up where it had to, and getting this in a week and a half was just unexpected. But like I said, Platinum Cult Edition is not the highest grade type of thing to get licensed films and stuff like that. They're not Shot Factory. Nowhere near the quality of it. But living with that standard definition pan and scan version off of VHS for all these years, since the film was released in '98 and wherever the hell I first saw it afterwards, getting something that is at least a decent quality HD version with a couple of blemishes here and there on the print and everything, it's worthwhile. I paid a premium price to get this, but I was so jacked up actually going through and researching this whole release and everything to actually find out as much as I could ahead of time, and find out that it did there was a crowdfunding campaign put together to eventually get this thing, get an original telecine scan for the whole thing, a new scan for it to get the proper aspect ratio, because apparently the studio was just going to give them a not the best print or whatnot, because there's a couple other releases of Mean Guns that has it in widescreen, but it's kind of cropped into 16:9, so you still lose some of the picture on the sides for something that I believe was shot anamorphically, so you would still lose some things with it being zoomed in to like 1.78 to 1, 16:9 frame and whatnot. So there was some kind of crowdfunding campaign to raise the money for them to scan a new print of the whole thing. Again, some involvement from Albert Pyun himself. He's got his own commentary on here. So there was some momentum. There was a definite interest from a number of people to get this as the best version they could possibly obtain at this point in time. And it's like, I haven't watched it yet. I just checked out a couple of bits and pieces of the film to make sure the thing looked good. There's an English language track along with a couple other foreign language tracks on here. You'll have to navigate the menu as best you can, because it all is generally in German, but not terribly hard to translate or whatnot. Not kind of terribly hard to figure out what goes where, what menus what, and everything. It's not that hard to read it. But I did have some problems with the extras menu on the whole thing, and possibly because I eventually heard back from these guys on Facebook that I believe some of the video extras on this thing, mainly it's just a bunch of trailers, promo reels, a couple little things like that that apparently were possibly put together in 25 frames per second as opposed to regular like 24 frames or 29.97 frames per second that normal North American Blu-rays would typically read or whatnot. What they claim to say is that possibly if I don't have the right player that has a multi-feature, whatever the heck you want to call it, to really kind of read that type of stuff, it might not function right. And like every time I selected something on the screen, it basically just cycled back to the screen. It didn't never left the menu. I click it, it would freeze up and just go back to the menu and everything. So it never actually accessed the actual content that's on the disc. So I mean, it's a slight thing that kind of bothered me, but I can still watch the film in the English language, still access the commentary track. So everything else with a couple of things like trailers and artwork galleries and random things, it's not like I'm missing out like a 30-minute documentary or whatnot. It's not like I'm missing out on something major there. But there's apparently a second disc on here that's a DVD that I could not get to play on either the DVD player or the Blu-ray player, but I played on my Mac over here. So kind of weird thing. So I was like, maybe it'd be best if you had a multi-region player if you got this, to make sure that everything would be accessible by the disc and the player and everything. So it might just be a technological incompatibility that is causing these little errors or whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, I can still watch the film in a fairly decent HD format and just enjoy the film. So, and I kind of wanted in the back of my mind to maybe do a review of the film, but apparently the software that I have that I use for ripping Blu-rays apparently is not terribly compatible with this one. I keep getting an error message whenever I try to access the disc through the ACROC software, the ultimate video converter software, whatnot. And it's happened before on the second disc of the Escape from New York Shout Factory release, which happened to both myself and my friend Oliver Harper when he was doing his retrospective earlier this month or whatnot. So he encountered that, and I believe also encountered it on the Life Force release from Shout Factory as well. So he's changing software, but since this is the only real thing I've encountered this with that really makes it a difficult thing, that kind of stops things dead in its tracks, I really don't feel like I want to drop another like $50 on software right now for just to do one review. Because I paid about $30 to get the thing, to get shipped, obtain the thing from Germany and everything. I just don't think it's quite as necessary right now to really kind of plop down that much more money on top of actually purchasing the disc to be able to produce one review of a fairly niche cult action exploitation type of film from the late 90s that doesn't have quite as much reach and probably wouldn't get as much attention. Probably would get plenty, but I just feel like it's not quite as necessary for me to plunk down that much cash just for one title. If I end up encountering something in the future, it becomes a bit more of a nagging thing where I keep encountering this problem with the software that I have, I'll probably do something to kind of obtain more dynamic software that will allow me to do more. But right now, I'm going to stick with what I got and just enjoy this film when I have the time for it. And wanted to let you guys know that. So you can go to either PlatinumCultEdition.com or hit up the Amazon link below just to connect where I found it. Because it didn't come up in an easy search on Amazon. I had to kind of Google it and move my way back into Amazon to find this on their site to purchase it off of Marketplace. So check that out down below if you're very much interested in it. And basically that's all I got for this thing. It's a bit of a long one, but hopefully it was entertaining. It was kind of informative for you guys. And definitely, like I said, leave your comments below if you kind of like me kind of doing this thing. Maybe not on and off, not like a weekly basis or whatnot, but every so often when I think there's some very notable news coming out about Blu-ray releases or whatnot, I could do this again if you guys are interested. So the thumbs up on the video would definitely help that out. And a number of comments about what you would like to see with the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. What kind of releases do you think would really be the best thing to celebrate it? And if you were interested in getting some remastered versions of the motion picture or director's cut or various other things, definitely let me know, guys. So post your comments below, the thumbs up again. Spread some links around to get people interested, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.